Hey guys, word up again, looking at some more of Legion. So the beta's underway, and we're starting to see a lot more of the Legion endgame. The starting point for all of this then is Suramar, the 110 only zone that had a bit of worried skepticism around it that it may end up just like another Tanaan jungle. Well, I'm here today to give a rundown of what's exactly there in Suramar currently, which seems to be getting more and more populated with each build, and the things there is to do there, and why it's absolutely better than Tanaan jungle. The Suramar experience then begins with a short breadcrumb from Khadgar in Dalaran, asking you to find the source of an unusual message. From here, this will lead you to a meeting with an exiled Nightborn Arcanist, who will both set the stage for the situation in Suramar between the Nightborn, the Nightfallen, and the Legion, and also set up a base of operations in its centre. This is in hopes of rebelling against the Nightborn leaders within the city, and it sets up the zone and opens up access to content that's available there. It also preempts the events of what's going to happen in the Nighthold and gives context to some of the characters that are there, and in the Court of Stars and Archway dungeons, so it's definitely a great setting to quest in, and it's definitely got a lot of life in it. The content that's available then is broken up into a few different things. Firstly, there's quests. Unlike Tanaan, there's a long, multi-stage quest chain throughout the entire zone, starting at the beginning with Khadgar and Dalaran, as I said, and then going across the zone, meeting up with a variety of different groups and hubs, such as Vrykul in the east, and some Nightfallen in the west, along with some Night Elves up in the north, which all come with their own chains and hubs. And also, most importantly, there's a good chunk of quests right in the centre of the city, focused around the rebellion. This hinges upon a short chain to unlock a disguise spell within the city so you can roam freely as a Nightborn, though there are a number of detector guards around that will try and deactivate this illusion, so that is a good amount of urgency and intrigue within the zone, which is a great mechanic and really adds to the personality of the area. This sets up a lot of the context for the Nighthold raid, and also potentially could lead to the final pillar of creation, although all quests there are not implemented, so that's a bit unknown still. These all also filter into the Nightfallen faction, which is tied to your class order hall gear set, allowing you to purchase more and more gear depending on your standing, and also the regular rep vendor with things such as toys, tabards, gear, all the things that you usually expect. As you progress along the main story as well, you'll unlock world quests for the zone, as initially they aren't fully available across the entire zone, unlike the others. In particular, those in and around the cities are inactive. These obviously function in a similar way to the other world quests in the other zones, but in Suramar, they're also the only source of Nightfallen-themed quests should they show up as the daily bonus. They'll also reward you with the regular kind of rewards like artifact power, gear, order hall resources, and also potentially a unique currency for the zone called Ancient Mana, which I'm going to explain now. This can come from mobs out in the world, treasure on the ground, items received as quest rewards, or even just as a straight world quest reward. This is used to activate a number of quests, and also within your central hub to activate some NPCs as you unlock them along the quest chain so that they can be interacted with. Given that they are all exiled Nightborn and as such need mana to survive without succumbing to thirst, when they run out of mana, which decays at around 100 per 24 hours, they'll become inactive until you give them 100 mana, usually coming with a complementary buff while questing in Suramar, such as speed when you kill a mob for about an hour or so, at which point the cycle resets and they're active again until it runs out, giving you any quests or anything else that they have to offer. The amount of mana that you get is quite high, but the amount that you can actually store is limited by only 300. This does increase by 1 to 200 from certain quests and NPCs and caps out at around, I'm guessing, 2,000, and NPCs activated in the zone allow you to stockpile it higher. The whole system is a little bit weird, I must admit, to get used to, and having to go out and farm this extra resource to actually just gain access to doing quests is quite unusual. However, it really does a good job of encouraging you out there into the world and doing the world quests so you have enough potential mana to have access to the further Nightfallen quests as you progress. After that, there's the zone itself. This comes with the standard slew of treasures and rares, rare events, alongside a couple of world bosses that spawn. Past the usual though, there's also, interestingly, a good amount of exploration tied in. There's a series of ley lines that come with their own quests present in the zone, hidden underground in caves, which are frequently referenced in the quest chains. Unfortunately, there's a couple of instant death zones around a couple of the caves when I've tried to go there, so what the big payoff is at the end will have to wait until those death zones go away. There's also a series of teleports that link back to your staging ground in Shal Aran, where you met the Arcanist, which, once you've found and unlocked them, usually paying a sum of ancient mana to do so and finding a beacon in certain areas across Suramar, you can then use it to go to and from Shal Aran to the area, dropping travel time down significantly when jumping around doing world quests. And since there's no flight paths, this is hugely helpful because it is a massive zone, it's very vertical, and there's a lot of different places that you need to go to do all of the quests that spawn in different areas. Last but not least, there's a good number of profession quests that link to Suramar with mobs to kill, chains to follow, NPCs that direct you across the world to unlock mastery of patterns and gathering, so there's a whole lot of things to get done and a lot of incentives to explore and do Suramar for everyone. As a last point I'd like to make, and I've seen this in a few places already, the zone looks absolutely stunning. From the borders to the heart of the city, it's easily the most visually impressive and distinct zone I've ever seen. The city itself is huge and sprawling and really feels like it's teeming with life. It's very vertical, it's very vast, and there's a lot of different places and nooks and crannies, NPCs, little secrets to find. It's absolutely amazing to go around and look through. The progress of the story and the reveals of what's going on in Suramar and the Night Foothold is well paced, and it's great to get back to having an endgame quest zone that's focused on story rather than just jumping from hub to hub, gathering experience and moving on. In summary, Tanaan, this is definitely not. There's something here for pretty much everyone, and it serves as a great jumping off point for endgame content, as well as serving as a nice hub for some extra things to do further down the line. Obviously, there's still some stuff not in the zone, so it might suddenly fall off and be awful by then, but I somehow doubt it. The mana system does take a little bit of getting used to get slightly prohibitive if you haven't planned ahead, but given that it does add quite a bit to the flavour of the zone and the characters, I think it's a forgivable sin, and there's definitely justification for it being there. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope it covers some of the worries about Suramar that have been going around, and where Legion Endgame is going to actually begin outside of raiding, since I know a lot of people out there don't exclusively raid. If you like this and you're interested in more Legion-oriented content, please hit subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next video.